Okay. Excuse this little interruption. So now, let's continue about the Fourth Amendment. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause. That phrase, no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, has a meaning, has been determined to mean that the Fourth Amendment prefers warrants. That the Fourth Amendment says that if a police officer searches a person, or the person's house, or their person's papers, or their person's things, without a warrant, that per se is an unreasonable search. That's what the Fourth Amendment says. That little phrase, the U.S. Constitution, remember the Supreme Court has said that that's what that means. That phrase means that the Fourth Amendment prefers warrants. Remember that the judiciary, the judges, are the ones that tell us what it means. So we have the law here, but the law is interpreted by the judiciary branch of the United States. Judges, the courts, are the ones that tell us what these words mean. And so this phrase that says, no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, the Supreme Court has said that that means that the Fourth Amendment says that police officers, before they search a person, his house, his papers, or his things, should have a warrant. And if that police officer does not have a warrant, then it's an unreasonable search. However, there are exceptions. Now, the warrants have to be based on probable cause. But the Fourth Amendment doesn't tell us the definition of probable cause. So that's up to the judges to tell us what is the definition of probable cause. So that's what this course is about. What is probable cause? What is the definition of probable cause? Because you don't see it here in the Fourth Amendment. Common law is the one that this is going to tell us the definition of probable cause. The judicial branch of the United States government is the one that interprets this, that tells us, what does probable cause mean? Now, it also says that the probable cause has to be supported by oath and affirmation, meaning whatever the cause is that gives rise to a reasonable search or seizure has to be sworn to under penalty of perjury. It also says that the probable cause to search, the warrant, has to particularly describe, and listen to these words, particularly describe the persons to be searched, the places, and the things. And it has to be particular. It's called the particularity requirement of the Fourth Amendment. So the Fourth Amendment says everything has to be very specific. The police officer has to say, I have probable cause to search this house, and he has to describe the house and explain for what purpose. And has to be very specific, very particular. Which house, what color, what address, where, why, what does he expect to find? What is he going to look for? He cannot be general. He cannot say, well, I want to search the house to see what I can find. No. Tell us specifically, what is it that you're looking for? What is it that you're looking for? And what's the probable cause to search for whatever it is that you say you're going to find at that particular place, at that particular time, and the particular thing that you're looking for. All right. So let me explain the meaning of the Fourth Amendment. I'm going to... Marbella. I'm going to talk a little bit about the historical background of the Fourth Amendment. Where did it come from? In fact, the historical background of the United States Constitution, because this will give you a clue of what all of this is about. Well, once upon a time, there was a king in England. And his name was King Charles I. He was a descendant of Queen Elizabeth, who was a descendant of King Henry VIII, the one that got married 6 times, and he cut the head off 2 of his wives and divorced another 2, and the other 2 died. Anyway, or one died and then the other one survived him, but nonetheless, King Charles of England, King Charles I. Well, before we had the American Revolution, before we had the United States Constitution, before we had the Bill of Rights, we had King Charles in England. And King Charles, like many other kings, believed that he was appointed by God. And he had complete authority over the country and didn't have to answer to anyone. He was above the law because in his mind, he was appointed by God. So he didn't have to answer to anyone, and he was above the law, and he could do whatever he wanted. He was a despot. You know what a despot means? A person that thinks that they can do whatever they want, that they're above the law. Well, you know what happened to King Charles? The English got fed up with him. They cut off his head, my dear. They cut off his head. Some historians think that the Civil War of England, which happened 100 years or so before the American Revolution, that was the birth of democracy. That was basically the ancestors, the seeds of the Fourth Amendment, of the United States Constitution. Yeah, King Charles, they beheaded him. The English cut off his head and said, no more. Nobody's above the law. King, not even you. Wow. Well, after the English did that, the Americans looked at it and said, wow, well, we want rights also. And they wrote the United States Constitution and the Bill of Rights, giving liberty to people and to feel secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects. And also other rights that we're not concerned here, but that was one of the big factors that took place before the American Revolution, was the English Revolution. The English, where they cut off the head of a king and said, nobody's above the law. And this is where we as Americans also have that ingrained in this country, that nobody is above the law, not even police officers. That's why they have to follow the rules. They also have to follow the rules. Criminal procedure encompasses the rules that police officers have to follow when they gather evidence. Now, let me explain a little bit about how evidence works. Evidence first has to be legal. Police officers have to obtain the evidence legally. Because if they don't obtain the evidence legally, that evidence is no good. It's tainted evidence. It's dirty evidence. It's like dirty money. If you obtain money through drug dealing, that's not clean money. That's not money that you earned with your hard work. So that money's dirty, and the government, if they find out, they're going to take it away from you. The same with police officers. If they obtain evidence illegally, that evidence is like dirty money. It gets thrown